start, guys. So we'll discuss mainly the valuation part of companies, how companies are valued, why valuation is important, right? So we'll start with this. So can anybody tell me why valuation is important? The first question. Anybody can answer, like, why do you think valuation is important?
It is important because it tells us, it gives a sense of what could be the growth projections of the company.
Okay,
If it gives information to investors who would want to
right.
be part of that growth.
Correct. So basically, valuation is important only with the perspective of an investor. A common man going on road doesn't care what is the valuation of a company, what will be its future valuation, right? So if you are a potential investor, only then the valuation matters to you, because you will be seeing to invest in this company and then try to find out, is this a fair price at which I'm buying a stake, or should I wait further, or should I go to a new company altogether, right? So that's why valuation is important for an investor perspective. It's only important for an investor. So then quick question, why is the valuation of startups very different from listed or public companies? So listed is anything which we can buy on stock exchange, right? So why is the valuation of startups slightly different than those of listed companies? Any idea?
Startups generally, I mean, if you see, most of them are not generating any revenue, so we cannot
Correct,
get a
correct.
multiple on the revenue. We get to basically get a
Yes.
price to sales ratio for them.
Yes,
So it gets quite complicated doing that. And
correct, correct.
startups in different sectors have different multiples also, right? I mean, SaaS is quite different from what we have in fintech or in e-commerce sector. So
Yes. So it is very subjective. That's what the person right now mentioned. It's very subjective for startups because most of the startups are non-profitable, right? At least in the early stages. So it is an estimation, or there are many methods which we'll see today, 2 or 3 methods, how investors value startups. So what you see in Shark Tank and all, so they are just an estimates. There is no hard and fast rules for evaluating any startup, right? So that also will come to know further. So the answer given is correct because startups generally don't have any stable profits. Even if they have profits, they are unstable, right? Some year they can be positive in profits, and some year they can be negative in profits. So the valuation is very different because there is an unstable revenue growth and unstable profit growth. So that is the answer. So today we'll be discussing about these 5 methods. Although the fifth method will only give a broad overview, it is beyond your MBA interviews because this will be taught in the first year of MBA itself. And no, it is not expected to know this method. It's a very fairly complex method. It takes at least a day's, more than a day's time to do with examples and all. So not expected. So we will be discussing market cap, PE ratio, price earning growth ratio, price to book value ratio, and discounted cash flow today, right? So first method we'll discuss is what is market capitalization. So if you see your newspapers every morning, right, at least the finance section, these types of news are very common, right? The market cap of a company is eroded by this much and all. So what does this mean? Can anybody tell what does this mean
there
here?
are two types of market cap also, right? Free floating and the full market cap. Free
No,
floating or
we'll
market cap.
discuss the
Acha,
normal
acha.
market cap only. So
Basically, multiplying the stock value with the outstanding number of shares that are traded in the exchange,
yes,
right?
yes, yes. Right. So very simply put, what is market cap? Market cap is the value of all the shares which are existing in the market, right? All the shares of a company which are existing in the market, uska price multiply karne pe you get the market cap of a company. So I'll just show you an example. So I just opened moneycontrol.com. So you can see top 100 companies by market capitalization here, right? So Reliance, I hope my screen is visible, right? So if you see, Reliance is the number one here by its market cap, right? 17 lakh crore plus is its market cap, followed by TCS, HDFC. So what can you tell by this is the Reliance is the biggest Indian company by its market capitalization. That is how you define any company's valuation with respect to market capitalization. So generally, higher the market cap, stable are those companies, right? Why do I say stable? Because they have a set history behind them. that they are able to generate steady cash flows, steady profits, etc. So that's why investors have faith in that companies. They have a good management, etc. So what happens? Their share price goes up, right? And as the share price goes up, the market cap also goes up. But now there are some outliers also here. See, if you see Adani Enterprises and all, what happens is sometimes there is no proper financial backing for any share price to go up, right? They can go in any fashion. There is no rule for any share price. Generally speaking, if the company is stable, profitable, and growing year after year, the share prices go up. But there are some Adani Group companies which are very recently. See, if you see here, Adani Green is also been seen. Adani Enterprises also seen. These have very recently moved up in the market cap last 2-3 years. Otherwise, they were not even in the picture. So suddenly, some investors are having a lot of faith in the company and they are driving up the share prices of these companies, and hence the market cap is also rising here. So these are outliers, right? So if you are being asked in an interview, what do you mean by market cap? Simply say that a company with a higher market cap is more stable in its management, right? The stock prices also show lesser fluctuation for those companies, and they are time tested businesses. They are old businesses. मतलब ऐसा नया नहीं है कि 1 साल में ओपन हुआ कंपनी या 2 साल में कंपनी, right? They are old companies and they are valued very highly among investors. So many investors invest in them because they want stability with them. So there are generally three types of companies, right? You might know uh, small cap, mid cap, and large cap, right? So that valuation is also done based on some market cap number. So in general, if you see any company whose market cap is less than 500 crores, right? If you can note down, if it is less than 500 crores, you can say that as a small cap company. So you can see a lot of fluctuation in their prices. If the markets fall, small cap companies fall by a bigger margin, right? Just because their market cap is lower, right? So investors' faith is also lower. Just now we discussed. Then there are second type of companies called as mid cap companies. Mid cap companies start होते हैं 500 crore market cap से लेके 7,000 crore तक. More stable than small cap and they show good growth prospects also, right? Hence they have more space to grow. They have the potential to become large cap in the future. उसके बाद we have large cap companies who start from 7,000 crore market cap and go up to 20,000 crore or over that. So if you see Reliance here, Reliance was like 17 lakh crore of market cap, right? So huge company and very, very old company also. So the growth potential for these companies are limited compared to small cap and large cap because they are already grown. The news of all growth and all is taken into account and hence their share prices are up. So that doesn't mean 1500 share price is a very low share price for Infosys because they are given many bonuses and all in the past, right? So that price has bonus adjusted price has split adjusted prices hai, right? So if suppose Infosys had never given any bonus or split, the share price could have been what 50-60,000 also, right? Right. So for example, Nestle, if you see Nestle has never given any split for its share. So that is not important right now, but I'm just showing the share price of Nestle is around 20,000. I'm just finding it here. So you can check it on Google. So that doesn't mean Nestle is costlier than Infosys, right? So we'll see that in our next slides. So till now it's clear, right? First valuation method, market cap method. So you will not be asked very detailed questions in your interview. You just need to have an idea of what market cap means, right? So next we'll go to a very important metric for valuating companies. It is called price to earning ratio or PE ratio. So this is the standard formula for it. The second formula which I have written here, the share price of a company, जैसे हमने अभी देखा Infosys का 1500 था, divided by earnings per share of that company, right? So see, if you will not be asked to calculate these values in your interviews or GD etc. You will be asked to know what does this mean, right? So मैं एक example आपको दे देता हूँ कि how to calculate this PE ratio. So first we'll calculate what is this term earnings per share, right? EPS बोलते हैं उसको. So earnings per share is the net earnings. So earnings minus the preferred dividend. So whenever a company, suppose there is a company called TCS, right? So there are two types of shareholders. Preferred shareholders होते हैं and common shareholders होते हैं. So you can just remember these terms. So preferred shareholders are those shareholders who are like strategic shareholders, जो decision लेते हैं, who drive the company also, like the promoters. And common shareholders होते हैं हम जैसे लोग जो हम stock exchange में stocks खरीदते हैं. So just remember this formula, earnings per share में the net earnings मतलब the profit of a company, right? Net earnings में से आप preferred dividend, the dividend given to preferred shareholders, उसको जब हटा देंगे, you get the numerator and divide that with the number of outstanding shares of that company, मतलब total number of shares of that company. So this also you'll get on Google कि TCS के कितने outstanding shares है, Reliance के कितने हैं. Nothing to remember there. So we'll just quickly see an example कि कैसे net profit भी calculate होता है. Suppose a company is earning this revenue, how much, 2 CR of revenue, right? Then you subtract various costs involved in getting that revenue. So cost of goods sold होता है, marketing and sales expense होता है, office admin expense होता है. Everything if you remove, you will get the operating profit, right? Something around 1.1 CR. उसके बाद उसमें गवर्नमेंट का इंटरेस्ट होता है. Whatever profit you earn, there is roughly sorry, not on that. It comes later. The tax comes later. So there is an interest portion on that, on the net profit. So this is PBIT, profit before interest and tax, right? Then there comes an interest on that, right? So interest हटाने के बाद you get profit before tax. Then again you remove 30% of the government tax. So don't go deep into this. It will be taught to you in MBA. Just remember नेट प्रॉफिट कैसे निकलता है. पहले रेवेन्यू हेडर रहता है, उसके बाद ऑपरेटिंग प्रॉफिट रहता है, उसके बाद इंटरेस्ट और टैक्स हटा के नेट प्रॉफिट आता है. सो दिस इज योर नेट प्रॉफिट, right? How much is it? 51,80,000 is your net profit. Then how do you calculate earnings per share here? So net profit or the net earnings minus suppose हमने preferred shareholders को dividend दिया है 1,80,000 rupees. So this is an assumption, right? This you will get in your balance sheets and all. So 1,80,000 is the preferred dividend, and I'm assuming there are 5 lakh of shares, right? 5 lakh of shares. तो आपको earnings per share इस केस में आया ₹10. Okay, now we'll see the significance कि इसका क्या यूज होता है P ratio का. So if I suppose you are an investor in this company, right? आपने 100 shares खरीदे and उसका share price अभी 150 है. So आपका investment हुआ 15,000 rupees. So any person wants to buy this company के 100 shares. He has put 150 rupees for each share and total 15,000 उसने खर्च किए, 100 shares खरीद लिए. Now what is earnings for that investor? उसने 100 shares खरीदे और earnings per share निकला 10. So what is the, so he is expecting an earning of ₹1,000 on his investment, right? Every year. So earnings per share every year के बेसिस में होता है. So अब वो ये assume कर रहा है कि मैंने जब इसमें 15,000 इन्वेस्ट किए, I have the capacity or I am obliged to be paid ₹1,000 as earnings by that company. But you see that this 1,000 can be used by company in two different ways. या तो वो डिविडेंड दे सकता है या वो कंपनी को रीग्रोथ में भी इन्वेस्ट कर सकता है, कंपनी के रीग्रोथ के लिए, राइट? सो this 1,000 may not come fully to you. Company generally uses it into growing its own business further. So some companies pay very high dividend, some companies don't pay at all. So जैसे D-Mart या Avenue supermarkets never paid any dividend. It constantly puts its money back into its business. But there are some companies like TCS, Infosys, ITC, they pay very good dividends, right? So दोनों type के companies होते हैं. It depends on the management. So now to know if the price of ₹150 is correct, we use the PE ratio. PE ratio क्या हुआ? Share price हमने assume किया था ₹150 per share. And हमने earnings per share निकाले थे, कितना value आया था? 10. So what you came to know right now, for this company the PE ratio is 15. So suppose ये company TCS है. I'm just giving an example. Now what you will do, PE ratio is always used to compare its peer group companies within its peer group. तो आप देखेंगे Infosys, Wipro, HCL Tech जो उसके related companies है, राइट, उसका पी आप कंपेयर करेंगे, राइट, कि वो मेरा इसका 15 आया पी, तो बाकियों का क्या पी आ रहा है, 18 आ रहा है, 20 आ रहा है, लेस देन 15 आ रहा है. सो इट जनरली मीन्स lower the PE, lower is the valuation of a company, right? Within that peer group. Matlab, you can't compare TCS with Reliance using PE, right? It's a wrong comparison. It is only within that peer group. So, जैसे Asian Paints, Berger Paints, you can compare because they are into the same type of business, right? So, now you can know कि by using P जो रेशियो आपको निकल के आया, now you can tell कि मैंने जो टीसीएस खरीदा था वो क्या महंगा था या सस्ता था कंपेयर टू इट्स अदर ग्रुप कंपनीज, राइट. सो इफ यू सी हियर, नीचे जो टेबल में हमने दिया है, अ लो पी जनरली मीन्स स्टॉक इज अंडर वैल्यूड और देर इज लो ग्रोथ और फ्यूचर प्रॉस्पेक्ट्स आर नॉट गुड. सो इट डजंट, इट इज either this or this, right? So sometimes, for example, Reliance ka P is very low. It is around 22, 23 something. That doesn't mean the future prospects are not good. That means the stock is currently undervalued, right? So same thing is for high P. High P मतलब stock is overvalued. मतलब उसको बहुत high P मिला है अभी. So let's see if that you can see here. So we'll just see a company जिसका P is currently trading very high. So let's go to Adani Enterprises. So if you see here, 364 PE आया है इसका. So that means the stock is very highly overvalued, right? So let's go to its peer. अभी कोई दिखा रहा है क्या? So देखिए उसका related companies, not exactly into the same business, but related companies, right? Aegis Logistics का देखिए 31 ही है PE, Redington 9 ही है PE. So compared to these companies, इसका PE बहुत ज़्यादा है, right? So that's what we have seen here, कि stock is highly overvalued compared to its peers, right? So बेसिकली आपको पी रेशियो में यही, दिस वन ऑफ द वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट रेशियोज फॉर वैल्यूएटिंग अ कंपनी. सो व्हेन यू आर आस्क्ड इन योर इंटरव्यू कि पी का क्या मतलब है, व्हाट इज द सिग्निफिकेंस, जस्ट टेल देम विद इन अ पीयर ग्रुप. जैसे आईटी कंपनीज हो गए या पेंट कंपनीज हो गए या फाइनेंस एनबीएफसी कंपनीज हो गई, उनमें हमको कंपेयर करने को बहुत ईजी होता है कि इफ आई एम एन इन्वेस्टर, सपोज आई वांट टू पुट 10,000 रुपीज, सो शुड आई पुट इन अ कंपनी जिसका पी 100 है या जिसका पी 50 है. सो वन ऑफ द वैल्यूएशन मेथड्स इज पी रेशियो. मैं सस्ता वाला खरीदूंगा, बट अगेन इट इज वेरी सब्जेक्टिव, राइट? यू कांट जस्ट कंक्लूड कि सस्ता वाला है तो ही मैं खरीदूंगा, बिकॉज अ कंपनी विच हैज हाई पी कैन ऑल्सो बी शोइंग हाई ग्रोथ. जैसे यहाँ पे मैंने दिखा है, इट कैन आइदर बी ओवर वैल्यूड और इट हैज वेरी हाई फ्यूचर प्रोस्पेक्ट्स. तो इसका मतलब क्या हुआ, सी जस्ट invert this here. P ratio is 1 second. So share price is, you can just invert this. Share price is P ratio into earnings per share, right? So 1 second, I will just show you one example here. So we'll just go to Hindustan Unilever here. So see, इसमें you can see the P ratios of all these FMCG companies, right? तो इसका P 62 है, प्रॉक्टर एंड गैम्बल का 92 है, कोलगेट का 39 है, जिलेट का 55 है. सो क्लियरली यू कैन सी यूनिलीवर इज मोर एक्सपेंसिव देन कोलगेट, राइट? डायरेक्ट पी के कंपैरिजन से. बट दैट डजंट मीन कि यूनिलीवर का फ्यूचर प्रोस्पेक्ट्स आर नॉट गुड. इट कैन ऑल्सो मीन इसका प्राइस इतना कमांड इसलिए कर रहा है because investors have faith in this company. They are giving more paisa to this company because they have faith in its future compared to Colgate, because it is more diversified, more products. So why does P become high? P becomes high because investors का trust भी बहुत है इस कंपनी में. They are willing to give that price to this company. इसलिए वो P continuously बढ़ते ही जा रहा है, right? So this is also other way to interpret that. कि जब भी पी हाई होता है, इन्वेस्टर्स को कॉन्फिडेंस भी उस कंपनी में हाई रहता है, वो उसका फ्यूचर ग्रोथ को ट्रस्ट करते हैं, राइट? सो दैट इज वन वे टू इंटरप्रेट पी ओनली, बट विद इन दैट सेट ऑफ कंपनीज, नॉट बियॉन्ड दैट सेट ऑफ कंपनीज. Okay, so we'll go to the next ratio, So just इसमें brief idea ही आपको रखना है. Nobody will grill you on these questions. You just need to have some basic understanding. What does PE ratio mean and all. So PE basically shows if that company is undervalued or overvalued, and it also shows investors confidence कि इसका future में कितना prospects हो सकते हैं. For here जैसे यहाँ पे लिखा है, high growth, high future prospects if the PE is high. So see now there are, before quickly closing, we saw Adani Group जिसका बहुत overvalued था stock price, right, compared to its peers, 360 कुछ था. So तो वो केस ऐसा हुआ कि stock is overvalued. We don't know about the future prospects of that company. तो उसको सिर्फ ऐसे ही बड़े बड़े शेयर होल्डर्स ने ऊपर उछाल के रखा है शेयर प्राइस को. वी डोंट नो इफ इट रियली इज दैट इट्स वर्थ और नॉट. बट यूनिलीवर वैसा नहीं है. यूनिलीवर इज अ स्टेबल कंपनी फ्रॉम मेनी 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 डिकेड्स, राइट. सो भले ही उसका पी रेशियो हाई है उसके ग्रुप में, इट मीन्स दैट इट हैज हाई ग्रोथ एंड हाई फ्यूचर प्रोस्पेक्ट्स. सो आपको कंपनी वाइज डिसाइड करना है कि उसका पी हाई है तो उसका क्या मतलब हुआ. अडानी का इसलिए हुआ कि इट इज जस्ट artificially pumped, but Unilever is not artificially pumped, right? It has future with it. So that is the conclusion of PE ratio.
How are peer groups basically defined? For if a company has different businesses, so
Yes,
how do you compare for such a company?
correct. So see, it is broadly defined. जैसे अब यहाँ पे आप देखेंगे इंडस्ट्री, पर्सनल केयर एंड एफएमसीजी दिया हुआ है. So see, if you say Reliance also has FMCG business now, right? They have launched their brand, but the major businesses उनका oil and ये सब है. मैं आपको दिखाता हूँ. Reliance will be linked with Indian Oil and such companies. I'm just showing. So IOCL, BPCL, HPCL, these are its peer companies because इसका major refineries, oil and refinery business है Reliance का. Although it has moved now to Jio and so on, but the core business of that company is into oil and oil refineries.
Okay, so it is basically defined according to the core business.
Core business, yes. But generally अब ये अभी काफी डाइवर्सिफाई हो गया रिलायंस इंडस्ट्रीज, राइट. टीसीएस इज
Yeah.
नॉट ओवर डाइवर्सिफाइड. वो टेक्नोलॉजी में ही है जब से है तब से. उसने कोई
Correct.
फैक्ट्री लगाया नहीं है. तो सो इट इज सब्जेक्टिव. मतलब दैट इज हाउ यू शुड एक्सप्लेन कि उसका कोर बिजनेस रिलायंस का इज स्टिल इनटू ऑयल एंड ऑयल रिफाइनिंग एंड माइनिंग.
Hello, sir.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
mentioned in between that some companies give dividends, some not.
Yes.
So how is it decided that which like it is because like TCS doesn't have factories and other inventory stuff, so it gives dividend to its shareholders.
करेक्ट. तो वो प्रमोटर्स का डिसीजन होता है. जैसे हमने यहाँ पे अभी अर्निंग्स फाइंड आउट किया, राइट. एज यू सपोज यू आर अ शेयर होल्डर इन दिस कंपनी, सो आपने इसमें इसलिए पैसा डाला बिकॉज यू आर श्योर कि मुझे 1,000 रुपए तो मिल सकता है अगर मैं इस कंपनी में पैसा डालूंगा 15,000 रुपए. बट इट इज एट द डिस्क्रिशन ऑफ द प्रमोटर्स ऑफ अ कंपनी कि उसको कंपनी को आगे ग्रोथ करना है या आपको डिविडेंड देना है, राइट. क्योंकि अगर ग्रोथ करेंगे तो अर्निंग्स भी बढ़ेगा, राइट. द नेट प्रॉफिट विल आल्सो इंक्रीज. तो इन अ वे आपका अर्निंग्स पर शेयर भी बढ़ता है अगर कंपनी ने फ्यूचर में ग्रोथ किया तो. सो इट इज अ प्रमोटर्स डिसीजन. वो आपके हाथ में नहीं रहता है कि डिविडेंड ज्यादा देना है या आगे कंपनी की ग्रोथ में पैसा लगाना है.
Both ways, मतलब we are getting, मतलब मेरे को तो like long
Yes.
term मिलेगा, dividend में short term
Correct.
मिलेगा.
Correct. So both ways you are benefited. So more important is this part, earnings है कि नहीं.
Sure.
Both ways you are, मतलब शेयर प्राइस जल्दी बढ़ता है if they are put in the growth of a company.
Okay.
Not always, generally. We'll go to the next ratio. So we'll quickly go to PEG ratio. तो हमने PE ratio तो देख लिया. Then why do you need this G or growth part in this? तो इसका मतलब है PE रेशियो को हम ग्रोथ रेट ऑफ फ्यूचर अर्निंग से डिवाइड कर रहे हैं. तो ऐसा क्यों कर रहे हैं? बिकॉज सी एनी कंपनी है और एनी इन्वेस्टर, सपोज यू आर एन इन्वेस्टर, हमको फ्यूचर से मतलब है. ये PE रेशियो अभी जो हमने इतना देखा, ये अभी का हमको वैल्यूएशन दिखा रहा है कि अभी ऐसा स्टेट है यूनिलीवर का या अडानी का. बट फ्यूचर में क्या, व्हाट अबाउट द फ्यूचर, राइट. वी डोंट नो व्हाट इज द फ्यूचर. सो आई विल क्विकली गिव यू एन एग्जांपल. सपोज देयर इज एन कंपनी, सम XYZ कंपनी, जिसका अर्निंग्स पर शेयर है 100, 125, 163, राइट, इन ईयर 1, ईयर 2, ईयर 3. You can see only earnings also. It's earnings per share or earnings, right? What I'm trying to show is कितना growth हो रहा है उसके earnings में. So year 2 में 125 हुआ तो 25% growth हुआ, right? एंड ईयर 3 में अगर 125 से 163 हुआ तो 30% ग्रोथ हुआ. सो व्हाट यू आर सेइंग हियर इफेक्टिवली इज, अगर मैं आज 2023 में बैठा हूँ 2023 में, एंड अगर मुझे नेक्स्ट ईयर का अंदाजा लगाना कि व्हाट दिस कंपनी वुड डू, राइट, सो इट इज सेफ टू से दैट इन दिस रेंज ओनली द कंपनी विल ग्रो. ऐसा नहीं होगा कि 100% ग्रोथ होगा या सिर्फ 10% होगा. सो PEG रेशियो इज जनरली यूज्ड फॉर कंपनीज विथ रिलेटिवली स्टेबल अर्निंग्स. ये जो लास्ट पॉइंट मैंने लिखा. सो आई एम अज्यूमिंग फॉर एग्जाम्पल कि नेक्स्ट ईयर भी 30% ग्रोथ हो, तो मेरा EPS क्या निकल के आता है, ऑन 163 आई गिव 30% इंटू 1.3 करूंगा तो 212 अर्निंग्स पर शेयर निकल के आता है, राइट. एंड सपोज आई एम अज्यूमिंग, जस्ट अज्यूमिंग ये कंपनी का PE 25 है, तो इसमें PEG रेशियो निकल के आएगा 25/30, राइट. दिस इज द रेशियो 5/6 ऑफ दैट, राइट. सो इसका सिंपली मैं आपको बताता हूँ व्हाट इज द मीनिंग. अगर PEG लेस देन 1 है तो अंडर प्राइस बोलते हैं, फेयर प्राइस एंड ओवर प्राइस्ड. These are the meanings of this. Indicates a buy decision if PEG is less than 1. Greater than 1 indicates a sell decision. So what happens, मतलब इसका मतलब क्या हुआ कि अगर PEG greater than 1 है तो कंपनीज वैल्यूएशन मतलब PE रेशियो इज ओवर स्पीडिंग इट्स ग्रोथ आउटलुक. क्यों? क्योंकि न्यूमरेटर इज बिगर देन डिनोमिनेटर, राइट. तो कंपनी का वैल्यूएशन इज गोइंग फास्टर देन एक्चुअल फ्यूचर आउटलुक, राइट. यहाँ तक क्लियर है, राइट. इफ PEG इज ग्रेटर देन 1, वैल्यूएशन इज ओवर स्पीडिंग इट्स ग्रोथ आउटलुक, मतलब डिनोमिनेटर को ओवर स्पीड कर रहा है. सो दैट इज द मीनिंग ऑफ PEG रेशियो. सो वी कैन क्विकली कैलकुलेट वन PEG अगर आपको एग्जाम्पल के दौर पे करना है. तो इफ यू सी हियर रिलायंस का 1.86 PEG आया है. सो विल जस्ट कैलकुलेट कि 1.86 आया कैसे. व्हाट डिड आई से? PEG का डेफिनेशन इट इज द PE divided by future growth percentage. So growth is always calculated in the profit growth. ये याद रखिए, profit growth पे आपको करना है. So if you just see here compounded profit growth, right? So this is the last 12 months का. TTM का मतलब होता है last 12 months का. So 24% से growth हुआ है around, right? So if you quickly divide 26.8 divided by 24, you can just check on your calculators or something. It will be close to this number, not exactly, क्योंकि ये everyday change होते रहता है. So I'll just show you. So roughly 26.8 divided by 1.111. So now we'll again go back here. We'll again check one more. अब 14 से एक बार करके देखते हैं. See, 24 से we are getting 1.11. Now let's go and check with 14. 1.91. So this value was more closer than this value, 24% का. So what does this mean? See, देखिए अब लास्ट 5 years से इसका ग्रोथ रेट स्टेबल 14 जा रहा है, लास्ट 3 years से स्टेबल 14 जा रहा है, बट ये साल 24 हुआ, राइट. सो दिस इज एन आउटलायर ईयर. इफ यू कैन जस्ट सी हियर, यहाँ पे देखिए अब उसका नेट प्रॉफिट्स सी जनरली स्टेबल वही रेंज में जा रहे हैं, राइट. 36, 39, 39, then there is a jump suddenly. So what you generally need to do is, आपको ये देखना है कि पिछले 3 साल 5 साल में कितना एवरेज प्रॉफिट ग्रोथ है, राइट. बिकॉज समटाइम्स व्हाट हैपेंस, सी दिस TTM could have been 14 also, right, but sometimes suddenly the companies show a jump in their profits due to some different product launch or some sales. तो आपको स्टेबिलिटी के लिए जो स्टैंडर्ड PEG के लिए जनरली टेक 3 year और 5 year का एवरेज, राइट. तो यहाँ पे 14 है, अब 14 13 ऐसा कुछ लेके यू कैन कम टू अ स्टैंडर्ड PEG नंबर. TTM मे और मे नॉट, जैसे हमने अभी देखा, इट डजंट मीन दैट ये जो हमने इसमें 11 सॉरी कौन सा था नंबर वो 24 करके देखा, इट डजंट मीन दैट 24 इज रॉन्ग. PEG of 1.11 जो आ रहा है, that doesn't mean this number is wrong. But जैसे मैंने ये स्लाइड में आपको बताया, this generally depends on relatively stable earnings growth. तो इसका 3 साल का अर्निंग ग्रोथ भी स्टेबल था, 5 year का भी था, बट अनॉमलस था लास्ट 1 year का, राइट. सो दिस इज अ काइंड ऑफ लिमिटेशन टू रिलायंस इफ यू ट्राई टू कैलकुलेट द PEG रेशियो. बट इफ यू स्टिल वांट टू get to a number, you should generally take the stable earnings जो 3 साल का है, because 3 साल का एवरेज आउट होता है, राइट? 5 साल का भी ज्यादा लॉन्गर पीरियड है. So that is how you calculate PEG of any company, right? So just remember, less than 1 matlab generally gives a decision to buy, generally gives a decision to sell if it's greater than 1.
Yeah, sir, I have a doubt actually.
Yeah.
This is the growth rate of future earnings. So isn't it wrong that we select the previous 3 years or previous 5 year
Yes.
growth
So
rate?
correct. So we don't know. See, we are as an investor. आज के दिन में मैं बैठा हूँ. This company has been working since 30 years, 40 years, right? So हम इसलिए नंबर भी रॉन्ग आया. अभी 1.11 क्यों आया? एक्चुअल वैल्यू इसमें देखिए आप क्या था. एक्चुअल वैल्यू 1.86 था. I'm just going to the top. 1.86 था, पर हमको आया 1.11. This is exactly what happened, what you're saying right now. हमको नहीं पता फ्यूचर में क्या अर्निंग्स ग्रोथ आएगा. I assumed कि 24% होगा बेस्ड ऑन द TTM नंबर्स. एक मिनट, ये वाला. तो अगर मैं TTM में 24% ग्रोथ लेता था तो मेरा 1.11 आया. बट अगर मैं 14% लिया तो 1.86 अराउंड 1.8 to 1.9 आया, which is what this figure is also there, right? So as per this analysis, as per this company data, it assumes that आगे भी फ्यूचर में 14% तक ग्रोथ एक्सपेक्टेड है. वी डोंट नो. सी अगेन, वैल्यूएशन में ऐसा कोई हार्ड एंड फास्ट रूल नहीं है कि 14% ही होगा या 20% भी हो सकता है. इट गिव्स एन इंडिकेशन. तो आपको इंटरव्यू में जब पूछेंगे, यू जस्ट टेल देम कि डिनोमिनेटर इज अनसर्टन, वी डोंट नो कि कितना प्रॉफिट ग्रोथ होगा. नोबडी कैन टेल दैट, बट इट इज सेफ टू अज्यूम कि ओवर द लॉन्ग टर्म कितना प्रॉफिट ग्रोथ था. सो ओवर द लॉन्ग टर्म में इज 3 years और 5 years लाइक दैट. 10 years का भी आप देखोगे 12% से इतना ऑफ नहीं होगा नंबर. इट विल बी क्लोज टू दिस नंबर. बट 24 लेते हैं हम तो एकदम ऑफ हो जाता है नंबर. सो दैट इज द आंसर. यू डोंट नो, बट you have to make a safe assumption for that.
So it is up to the investor who is valuing how he wants to value.
And how the story is pitched to the investor. वो अगर कोई प्रमोटर बोलेगा कि नहीं अभी तो 30% ही ग्रोथ हुआ, बट आगे हम वी आर वेरी कॉन्फिडेंट 40% ग्रोथ होगा. इट डिपेंड्स कि वो क्या पिच करता है.